Welcome to Bible Over Brews, deep thoughts for men over time and text. I'm coming to you, Aaron Crew Juice for Verka, and I've got Gumby.
Hey, hola.
I've got Keith.
Let me toast it over here.
And we are doing the 2022 wrap-up with an announcement. But before we do any of that, I have a surprise. So these two gentlemen know that I have a treat from Masthead, but they don't know what it is. So I'm going to pop this open, and I'm going to let them try it and see if they can guess what is in this concoction.
Surprise, it's pure grain alcohol.
Christmas in February.
Surprise, it's turpentine.
Ooh, look at that. Look at that.
Familiar color.
Oh, look at that.
Looks like
Plenty of head. Look at that. Foamy,
is
delicious. Look at that. Keith?
God, the children.
Oh man, Gumby got all the head.
Oh, it'll come down.
Oh dear, this is. You know, I've already had too much, and it's not very much.
All right, ready?
Color.
What does it smell like? Ooh,
Oh, still smells like cigars in here.
touche.
Right.
What do you smell so far?
I'm getting like nutmeg or something.
So right from the get-go, I'm going to tell you that it has a darker amber color.
Ooh, I love that
Look at
color.
that. Yeah, it's got a nice dark brownish amber color.
Whoa.
Yep, that's it right there.
Wow.
What do you taste?
Is there cayenne pepperness?
You're getting close.
Dang. Like I swear, like you think you drink, sip it, and you're like, this is gonna be a dark beer, and then it like hits you a little bit of IPA, like an IPA, and then you get cayenne pepper or whatever it actually is.
Yeah?
Is it the fire one that they used to do, or?
That's something else.
I guess that name kind of hints at something. It's not jalapeno again, is it?
No, it's not jalapeno. Anybody have any hints?
Ghost pepper.
I hear a ghost pepper. Okay.
Well, at first I was thinking it was something going to be like their Underverse Imperial, but it's not. It's not an Imperial.
Nope.
It's the red pepper flakes you get at Pizza Hut. Put on your pizza.
No, but you're close.
Man, that's so crafty.
Gubby seems really happy.
It's good. I love that stuff, man. I love different tasting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could put grilled cheese in a beer, Masthead, and I'd be happy with it. Right. They're like the happy dog of beers, where they just put whatever toppings they want in it. And it's like,
Right?
throw a shoe in there. It's good.
I give up, man. What is it?
Okay. He gives up. Keith, you give up?
I don't even know where to start. So
All right. So this is the Ice Melter. Anyone who has braved a Cleveland winter and the lake effect that comes with it knows the drill. Then there are those
Wait, is
who
road salt?
perfect days where the sun just peeks out enough to turn what was once snow into a full-blown sheet of ice. Masthead brewed ice melted Indian pale ale with grapefruit and habanero just for days like this.
Dang.
It is
Grapefruit.
an ABV of 7.6. And this, by the way, was previously called Sweet Heat.
Oh, sounds kind of familiar.
Remember that now.
I was here last week having a nice, beautiful brew. It was the Jalapeño. Well, I was finishing up my paperwork, and I said, I really miss the Sweet Heat. And he said, I have something for you. And hence, we got this beautiful ice melter.
Now this pairs well with this cigar.
Oh, yeah.
It tickles your lips at the end too. Like the little spiciness stays on the edge of it.
So delicious.
Like so few beers can lay claim to that part of your anatomy after drinking them.
Sure.
Which I'm sorry, that's not a dirty again.
What is with you, Keith? It smells like you're repressed.
I won't tell you about what's in my chat GPT cache over here.
Oh, no. The children, as Gumby would say.
This would be great with pizza, though. Or pizza that they have there. I see why they
Ooh.
Why they make what they make.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying the beer is just there to serve the pizza?
By the way,
I think they really think about it all.
see that.
Mind.
this is only brewed once a year. So you're drinking a limited series drink.
Yeah.
And this is the first time it's been allowed outside of the brewery in a growler.
What?
That's great.
So not only did earlier on our previous podcast, which will probably be number 2 after this, not only was that the first time they had brewed the Jalapeño IPA for takeout, it's also the same thing for the Ice Melter / Sweet Heat.
Love it. My lips are burning. That's great.
Thank you, Masthead.
Yes.
You've woken us up.
They are. It's great that they're letting some out. I know they're Underverse Imperial.
Always a
They
good
won't
one.
let that out,
Always.
man.
There's another one I'm going, I'm planning on bringing in here shortly. They have 2 or 3 versions of their birthday cake, and it's delicious. It is.
Wait, actual cake, or you mean a beer
No.
that's flavored like birthday
No,
cake?
it's a beer
Oh my gosh.
flavored as birthday cake.
Wow.
And it's 14%. Yeah, it's twice this. And you cannot tell. It is so
that would-
utterly smooth.
Actual
It's
turpentine.
amazing.
That's dangerous.
It's just smooth. I drank one and you couldn't taste the alcohol. It was utterly smooth.
That's when you got to hand the keys over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can make 14% and you can't taste the alcohol, like you can walk on water.
And they probably could. That's how their Underverse Imperial was. It was so dang smooth,
Yeah.
not overly sweet, but just sweet enough. You just, oh man, this is no problem.
Uh-huh.
And then you're walking on Nerf.
That's why they only serve it in like 8-ounce glasses.
And that would become my new favorite drunk bike ride home
Yeah.
from Masthead Brewery.
Yep. Great job, Masthead.
Thank you,
As
Masthead.
always.
That's off. Not just because we're drunk and losing our hats.
I don't know what to talk about. I am completely sober. Anyway. So, wrap up of 2022. Long awaited. We've been meaning to do this for over a month. So, here's the fun part. We actually have an announcement to make after this, but you have to wait. So, we created 753 minutes of new content last year. Now, it doesn't seem that way because, believe it or not, we actually put out less episodes last year because we had 3 podcasts going. So we were divided in across 3 podcasts. So just on our main podcast, Bible Over Brews proper, we created 753 minutes of content. That is more than 73% of all other creators in the religion and spirituality category.
Yes.
So, dude, we rocked it.
And clearly other people need to drink more beer.
And I can say this because I'm evangelical, but yes, that means our God's bigger than yours. Just kidding.
So here's
kidding.
the fun part. Hold on. I'm gonna stop for a second and put this slideshow up.
Our God
wait,
is an awesome guy. He makes beer with habanero and grapefruit.
All right.
It's like the most popular song ever.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Number 1, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Even the Catholics played that one.
So, question for you. Can you guess what our number 1 episode was last year? Was it Bible Over Brews 106, which was overview of the Dead Sea Scrolls, Bible Over Brews 97, which was correcting the patterns of evidence, or Bible Over Brews 85, Skeptic's Corner with Captain Dadpool?
Ooh.
Which one do you think it was?
I'm going Captain Dapple.
Got one for Captain Deadpool.
Not to be derivative, but I was going to go that way too, because skeptics are the skeptics episodes are pretty great.
Historically, they do very well. So, believe it or not, it was 106,
Oh,
the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Wow.
291% more streams than our average episode. So people loved the Dead Sea Scrolls episode. That's
What year did we do that?
last year.
Really?
All of these are from last year.
man, in pandemic time, that feels like 3 years ago.
Right? So we did a an overview of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and apparently that was a very popular episode. Again, 291% more streams than our average episode. So people love when we do categorical episodes.
People love when we talk about scrolls. They just dig scrolls. That's it.
Specific
Scrolls are
biblical
amazing.
content.
And like bodies of salt water that are not oceans.
So we play across 12 countries. All right. Here's the cool part. Not only do we play across 12 countries, our top 5 are 1, the United States, 2, Honduras, 3,
Great cigars.
Canada, 4, the Netherlands. I'm going to let you try to guess what number 5 is. I hear whistles.
New Zealand.
I hear New Zealand. Okay, there's New Zealand.
Australia.
I hear Australia. Believe it or not, South Africa.
Oh.
What?
Number 5 is South Africa. We are very popular in South Africa.
Shout out to the motherland.
Oh, yeah. We had 181% more listeners compared to our average week previously. In March 13th through 19th. For some
Honduras,
reason.
number 2.
Yeah. Honduras is number 2. Wow. We have a lot of listeners. I have no idea why. Gumby, I'm guessing it's because of you. But
Yes.
But we have a ton of listeners in Honduras.
We would
Pretty
like
cool,
to meet
right?
our Honduran super fan.
I didn't even know they
There
had
must be like a
podcasts in
fan
Honduras.
zero who just, went out.
Number
from there.
1.
No, the fact, so I know that we have a bunch of listeners in Canada. So the fact that we're that popular in Honduras says that we have a lot of listeners in Honduras that we have no idea who are there. But Honduras, we love you.
We do. We'd love for just one to call in.
Right?
Talk to us from any of the countries.
So our podcast was the top 15 most shared globally. Yes. So 87% shared a direct link to our podcast.
We're globalists.
The globalist agenda.
8%
We're part of it.
was in WhatsApp. 3% was Facebook, and then 4 was other. But believe it or not, people directly linked to us over and over again. Now, our podcast is played on Anchor, which is on Spotify. So that means that it was either Anchor or Spotify directly that we were shared on. So thank you, Spotify. Thank you, Anchor. We love you. You make this possible for us. So thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
What percentage of our listeners do you think follow our podcast? In other words, subscribe directly to us on Spotify or Anchor?
What percentage?
Yes. Is it 9%, 18%, or 27%?
I'm going to go with 27 because even though I haven't really used it much, Spotify seems to be surprisingly popular for podcasts.
I hear 27. All right.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing.
You guys are correct. It is 27%. So now, again, that does not mean they're not subscribing to us on Google Podcast or iTunes or even on YouTube, which we are on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. So that just means that out of our listeners on Spotify, 27% listen to us, or Anchor, one of those directly.
Can we tell what percentage is Apple? Because that's always been the big player.
The trouble is that Apple is not very good at giving us that information, nor is Google, ironically, because Google usually is really good about giving statistics. I mean, I can tell you everything about our YouTube stream, but it's really hard to find our information on Google Podcasts. It's also hard to find our stuff on...
If we say we're FBI, then Apple will just give it to us.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
What podcatchers do you guys use?
For most podcasts, I use either Google Podcast or Spotify.
Yeah, I was going to say Spotify.
I do Pocket Casts. Or I actually sometimes do direct download because my Garmin watch craps out on the Spotify podcast sync half the time. So.
Whatever the Apple one is, just podcasts, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just Apple Podcasts. But I honestly, I don't like Apple Podcasts as much as... Because I used to have an iPhone, and I actually do have an iPad. But I really do like the way that Spotify handles it. It's almost seamless. Again, Spotify, thank you. You make podcasts easy for me.
They do what they do.
Yeah. The one exception is for some reason what plays really well on Amazon is the Catechism in a Year. So Mike Smith's Catechism in a Year I actually follow on Amazon because Amazon Music.
They did podcasts.
Amazon Music, yeah. Actually,
probably.
no, Audible. I'm sorry, not Music. Audible. Amazon Audible. It plays very well on there. And it's been easy for me to follow. So that's the one I follow on Amazon is the Catechism of the Year with Mike Schmitz.
I'll take it. Top 30%.
Right? So Spotify / Anchor, they tried to categorize the listeners that people have. So what do you think our listeners are? If you could put them in a category.
Wait, what does that question mean? What do you mean?
Well, like, are they romantic? Are they
Oh, I see what you mean.
spiritual? Are they categorize listeners. What do you think our listeners would be?
Death metal enthusiasts.
Oh, I hear death metal enthusiast. All right.
I don't know. I mean, I would say like,
The
I
adventurer.
was going to say a researcher.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So your listeners venture out into the unknown, searching for fresh podcasts and gems yet to be found.
Oh, so they don't cross-pollinate with the music in their categories?
It could be.
Okay, because I was like, what? I was thinking like the total Spotify landscape. Like,
So 90% of your listeners discovered us
that a nice-
in 2022. So 90%, that's how many new subscribers we have. 90% of our listeners discovered us in 2022.
wow.
I love that description. It says your listeners venture out into the unknown. That's a nice way of saying they're on the fringe.
And since that Spotify is saying that, that means that they don't really know what's happening on their network.
But I'll bump. One episode attracted a lot of new listeners. What episode do you think that was?
Really?
We had one episode that attracted more listeners than any other to our podcast in 2022. 14% of all of our listeners started with this episode.
Wow.
Strata Turin. I'm just
Episode
making crap
do you
up.
think it is? Hey, there's one for Strata Turin.
Did we do Captain Deadpool in 22?
We did.
I'm going to go with that.
You are correct. It is Captain Deadpool. 14% of our listeners in 2022 started with Captain Deadpool.
Gotta bring him back on.
85. We got to bring it back on. Oh, here we are bringing it back on
Okay.
because, well, we'll talk later.
It's got to be Christian by now. Just joking.
I actually, so believe it or not, he and I talked about a certain subject. Homework for all of you people, by the way. We talked about a certain subject that I said we would come back to. And I'm inviting him back on for the trial of somebody.
Oh, there's somebody.
Yeah. We're going to do the trial of somebody. And I already pulled the research for it, and I'm working on it in the background, and we're going to invite it on, and I'll be the defendant, and he will be the prosecutor.
Oh my gosh.
Is it mother somebody?
It could be.
Mhm. I remember because he got pretty adamant about that.
Yeah. So I did some research for that, and it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a fun episode. Oh, yeah. So our podcast grew 30% last year, by the way. 30%. That's pretty good in 1 year.
That is awesome.
So we are top 10 podcast for 32 of our followers. We are in the top 5 for 26 of our followers. And we're the number 1 podcast for 9. We love you, 9. We love all of you. We love all of you. But out of those people who joined us last year, we're going to make you number 1. Like over this next year, you're going to be number 1. All of you will be your number 1 podcast.
Those 9 get a custom
It's
jacket.
coming.
It's
It's
like
coming.
rhinestones that spell out Bible over Brews. It's pretty rad.
So here's the fun part. And here's what we are announcing on this podcast. Bible Over Brews is now merging all of our podcasts into a single stream. We did this for your benefit. The one complaint we had from some of our listeners was that the podcast apps out there, I don't know if yours was the same, but the podcast apps out there made it hard for them to find our other streams. That's the number 1 complaint that we had from our listeners was that they wanted to listen to Bible Over Brews news and Bible Over Brews reviews, but podcast apps had a hard time finding the podcast.
Okay. Wow.
So to
Definitely appreciate the feedback.
yes, we did as well. So to solve that issue, we are formatting our podcast so that all of our episodes will be in one single stream. And what we're going to do is create separate shows on the podcast to accommodate for all of these. So coming up, you'll hear things like Bible of Brews Presents. This will be things like when we're doing topicals, theology topics in relation to Christian theology, history, etc., etc., etc. So that's going to be an actual show as we present. Like the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example, when we brought that to you, which was a huge draw for a lot of our listeners. Okay? Reviews will be when we cover artists like Gumby. We covered Gumby. We're looking to cover other artists as well. Movies, TV shows, pop culture, and things that relate to the faith and outside the faith. We'll be looking to do that under the reviews show. All right. Interviews has been a long standing since the inception of our show. We've always brought people on for interviews. We will continue to do so. In fact, on the 26th, we'll be bringing in David Falk, who has been on the show previously. He is returning. He is our show's favorite Egyptologist. And he'll be returning for an episode. We're looking forward to that big time. He has fresh content he's bringing, fresh research he's bringing, and he's even going to dive into the ancient origins of Egyptian beer.
Ooh.
And, of course, a long-standing favorite, Skeptic's Corner, will continue to be one of our main shows. And when we are in a brewery, it will be called Skeptic's Brewlette, which has been a long-standing favorite. So that will continue to be. So we're starting off with these 4 shows as well as Bible Over Brews news, because the news episodes have historically always been a top showrunner for us. In fact, usually within the first 5 most popular episodes, you'll find things like our coverage of the DNC and RNC. So Bible Over Brews news, Bible Over Brews presents, Bible Over Brews reviews, Bible Over Brews interviews, and Skeptic's Corner and Skeptic's Brewlette. So 5 different formats will be coming, and there will be 5 different shows, and we will go through and reformat our previous episodes that will reflect these different shows. If you would like to see something else, let us know. But we're starting with these 5 different formats. There will be 5 different shows that will continue to run on one stream under Bible Over Brews.
We're crossing the streams.
All right. That seems simplified.
That's right.
Yep.
So it'll be easy for everybody to find all of our shows under one umbrella.
Yep.
We'll just simply define them as shows rather than different things we're doing.
Okay.
So, guys, it's a new era.
Here's the crossing the streams.
So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, our next interview is going to be with David Falk. We have a returning co-anchor. Mr. Khalil is going to be coming back. He and I are collaborating in the background to do a 10 misunderstood ideas of Islam.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so Mr. Khalil is coming back on to do some clarifications for us because there are some very misunderstood things. And being an interfaith podcast, we would like to cover those.
He's such a cool cat.
It should be fun because there's actually several different things that we covered previously when he was on. If you go back and listen to our expose on Islam, that's going to be, I believe it was right around 40-ish, 42, 43, it was right in there. It was a very good episode. We got to cover a lot of content.
It was. I remember Mike saying one time during that, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, Khalil, J. Khalil, that's your name? He's like, of course we're going to be skeptical.
So he and I are working on a episode in the background, as well as David Falk and I working on one, and we'll be inviting on Captain Dadpool for the trial of a certain somebody. So we have some really awesome episodes coming. I hope you hang around. Plus, not to mention the fact that interchangeably, we'll be throwing out different news episodes at you, too.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always fun.
Yep.
Keeping you abreast of all that is happening.
Hey, whoa.
I just made PG-13, didn't I?
Well, and hopefully, I mean, the one thing I've been itching for, and I know we talked about this offline, I've been itching. I want it, and I'm not even Catholic. Is having an exorcist on the show.
And we are now closer than ever. So
I just think that would be.
That's dangerous. So the good exorcists are the ones who don't talk usually, right?
Well, there are some who are like doing a lot more interviews now.
there are some.
They're really open.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I may.
And especially doing this type of stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's willing to come on or not, but I think I found out who Cleveland's is.
Interesting.
So
You know what would be fun is to have an exorcist on who won't tell you anything. So we'll just ask him a bunch of questions and he just will not answer them at all.
I believe the
That
fact.
could be a very interesting
Doesn't matter as long as he's on the show.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're an exorcist.
Nah, I can't tell you about that.
But we're gaining access to possibly 3 of them right now. So
Oh my gosh.
we're gaining ground. We're
Yeah,
gaining
no,
ground.
I mean, there's some who are actually pretty open with the stories. And it's, I mean, I heard this one, I won't say what it is, but really incredible. So, shout out to the Catholic Church.
Thank you. So, gents, we have quite a year ahead of us and a lot of content to write up and put out. So, from all of us to all of you, cheers. Raise a glass.
You're here.
You're here.
Doing.
Thanks for the analytics, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thank
like
you.
some good statistics. I was like, I wish I could add to your. I should be the statistics guy, but you were like, here's some statistics, and I'm like, I drank too much beer. I can't process numbers anymore.
And believe it or not, and those statistics don't actually reflect all the stuff we've done because we've had a ton of listenership. I mean, we actually at one point rebooted our episode in the background. None of our listeners knew we did it, but we switched platforms. So we don't even have the analytics from the previous platform because they were terrible at keeping analytics for us. So on the new platform, we're in the tens of thousands of listens, well above that now, which is great. And we're going to keep expanding and keep blowing out and putting out good stuff. So, and pay attention to our YouTube feed because I have a couple of things coming that should be either weekly or bi-weekly. One's going to be Sipping with the Saints that just simply talks about saints of Christian history. And the other one is Bible Over Brews presents Catholic Geekdom, where we talk about different geeks of Christian history.
Interesting.
So that's coming out you too. They're just short segments, short snippets, but it actually tells you about all these cool people who pushed science and culture forward. So, and they'll be, again, short little biographies, but a lot of fun. That'll be on YouTube.
I know it's a little early, but I have a statistical challenge
All right.
next year. Average ABV per episode and ABV per rating or episode download correlation.
We're going to let you work on that, Keith.
That would be something. I mean, we should maybe start tracking that.
People tune in
Yeah.
when we're toasted. That's what we want to know. Maybe me because I'm a lightweight. Because everybody, you guys are like looking normal, and I'm just like, oh my gosh,
actually-
this beer has just totally keeled me over.
I'm completely
like,
coherent.
Somebody throw a news episode out there real quick because I'll give you the weirdest takes right now.
So now we know how to prep Keith.
That would be an interesting. I do remember quite a few episodes with George when he got at one point he got so mad at Mike for bringing these beers that Mike brought.
It's a Christmas episode. And
Man, I blame you, Mike. These things are so high in alcohol.
Was the Russia episode this last year? That wasn't it? Yeah, Russia was this
We
last
talked
year.
about Putin and all that.
yes,
Yeah,
that
'cause,
was- yes, it was. Yeah.
Sam was feeding me White Russians while I was
Yeah,
trying
that was
to like
something
make
else.
a point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
like
funny.
went like
That was funny.
and I'm like, oh, I'm so drunk. Because I'm just shotgunning this White Russian while trying to.
Yeah.
You just cave in. All right, fine. Support you, Putin.
No. I remember that too because, man, it was like George took a step back and he was trying to make a point and he just stopped and paused and he was like, "Doggone it, Mike."
Yeah, it's true. You realize, like, wow, this really set in. Yeah.
It was Mike brought 2 growlers that night.
Yeah. And it was probably from Noble Beast because that was Mike's favorite.
But they were so good. Oh my Lord. One was like some kind of mint something. It was like a mint peppermint patty or something. Oh my Lord. Oh, it was phenomenal.
I mean, that's got to be like an ABV of 9 or 10 or
That's
something.
what it
right?
was. It was a mint peppermint patty and it was if I get unless I get it wrong, a cookies and cream.
They do have a cookies and
I
cream.
think it was cookies and cream and like mint peppermint patty.
And that thing is a stout. It's dangerous.
Both of them were over 10%.
Oh, dang. That's like the rule. It's like whenever it's like made after a dessert, it's just ridiculously saturated with alcohol.
Expected to get wasted.
It's just wow.
I do remember another episode though with George. I don't want to say wasted. That's not.
We're not wasted. We're just pleasant.
In good spirits.
Pleasantly conversational.
We had matured that night, and we were talking about the Nephilim and the giants, and we were talking. He was like, "So that's how the world got flooded with the Nephilim." I won't even go there with what he was implying, but oh my gosh,
it was a fun episode. All right. Well, any other recaps for the night?
I hope to have George and Sam back.
Yes, especially with opening up much more Skeptics Corners
And
Skeptics
Ed.
Broulettes this coming
Yeah.
year. We're going to need skeptics to fill that gap.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I can be a switch hitter.
I'm trying to coax one of the priests in too. He runs a Bible study, and I think it'd be fun to bring him on.
Yep.
So,
Oh, in general, to be a skeptic, I was like
Yeah,
concerned
and
for a
he's-
second.
and he's Byzantine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it would be a fun take. It'd be fun, not even just for the Bible study part of it, but also for the different ideas. Like, I attend a Latin Mass. You attend the regular Novus Ordo. He's a Byzantine. It'd be fun just to talk about the different liturgies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. And our buddy from Franklin's Castle,
Which he said, William Crazy,
Mhm.
which he said he's trying to get us in. And that would be fun.
they are now doing bed and breakfast there,
Yes.
officially.
So
Wow.
we potentially could do a night there.
Imagine doing a show from there.
Just a live broadcast all night.
As soon as we said that.
The spirits of the garage start moving around, rustling the sheets,
What if we did it on Thanksgiving?
adjusting the webcam suddenly.
Halloween. It'd be fun to do it on like a Halloween night.
Yeah.
Just stay in Franklin's Castle all night long, just talking about Halloween.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe bring in an exorcist.
Oh man, I don't know if they'd allow that. If they knew. But, you know.
Exorcist will be in there, you know, like, oh, this is boring. This is child's play. I've seen real demons. This is just
Are you
Dark
kidding me?
corners and cobwebs or something.
And we could also do something like we keep talking about doing a night over at Mansfield too.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I happen to know somebody whose father was an inmate there.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That place closed in like the late 80s, right? Or something like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we're planning a lot. So please tune in. A lot of cool stuff.
Very awesome.
Yep. Gubby, any last thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think on one of the future episodes, it doesn't matter which one to me, but it would be cool to have someone call in from another country. Just
Another country would be phenomenal. I know that Chaos Conf is coming back.
Mhm.
because we had a great episode with him. Actually, it was our open mic night that ended up being a really in-depth night. So I got a hold of him. He's on Discord. He is coming back on. In fact, he might be on next time with David Falk. So that would be a fun one.
Okay.
Yeah. Keith, last thoughts?
Here's to the top 9.
All right. Guys, good fight, good night. Make sure you come over on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc., etc. We're on all of them. Go to our Patreon. Donate so we can give you great content.
Peace out. Nothing taboo over brew.
Godspeed.